What's up guys, I'm Brianna, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm filming my July wrap up and I believe I read 19 books, so I did do really well. I'm going to start with my ebooks that I read and explain a little bit about what I liked about them. So I did read quite a few. I think I read 6 total, which is not as many as I usually read, but you know, I wanted to be different. So the first one I read was Linked Up by Harley Stone. This is a Dead President Motorcycle #1 novel. I gave this book a 5 out of 5. This was a free book that I found through a friend and she absolutely loved it. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And it was just really good. I loved it. It was just everything I wanted. It was about a lawyer who was helping to get a wrongly accused member of the motorcycle club out, and then she had a romance with the president, so I thought it was really cool. I gave it a 5 out of 5, loved it, definitely want to continue on. Then I read Dear Aaron by Mariana Zapata. I don't know if you guys can see that well. Yeah, this is my Kindle. It's really beat up, but I have the Kindle Fire, so that's why the covers are in color. I enjoyed it. I gave it a 4 out of 5, and I read another Mariana Zapata book this month, so that will be in my wrap-up later. But after reading that, and then reading Dear Aaron, like right after that, Dear Aaron just didn't do it for me. I gave it a 4. I did enjoy it. I like the concept. It's about a girl who writes letters to this guy in the military, and they kind of form a relationship, and obviously they get together in the end, and it's slow burn, like 100%. But I was just like disappointed. Like, it was good, don't get me wrong, the writing was super great, it just wasn't the book for me. So I gave it a 4 based off writing, but I guess style, it wasn't my favorite. And then I read Rush, Anchor, and Pledge. So I'm going to show you the first book. This one's Rush. These are the new covers. So it's the PSU series, which is Palm South University, series by Candy Steiner. This is book 1, which is Rush. I absolutely loved it. I was doing my reread this month, so I got to books 1 through 3. And I'm finishing up right now Legacy and Black #4 because I did get an arc of Legacy and I'm gonna review it pretty soon. But I absolutely loved Rush. I love this whole series. Books 1 and 3 I gave a 4 out of 5, and book 2 I gave a 5 out of 5 because book 2 is like my absolute favorite. So good. But this book follows like just a band of characters in their different perspectives, and you get to see their lives and everything, and I just love it. It's literally like Netflix. I'm like trash for these books. It's really good. I definitely recommend it if you are interested in it. And the last ebook I read, I was like, what? Last ebook I read was Swagger, which is the Milwaukee Dragons #2 by Liz Lincoln. I got this as an arc by NetGalley, and I ended up giving this a 4 out of 5. This is a football romance. I did enjoy it. I don't remember too much about it because I read it in the beginning of the month, but I remember really enjoying it because I did get book 1 as an arc as well. So yeah. Now onto my physical copies. I read A Trilogy by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I read Tempting the Best Man, Tempting the Player, and Tempting the Bodyguard. They're all super short, really quick reads. I really enjoyed them. I think I gave them all 4 out of 5s. Just nice to read, nice quick stories. I don't really have anything else to say about them other than that they were good and enjoyable. And each one, they follow the Gamble brothers, so each book is about a different brother, but each brother has a different job, if that makes sense. So yeah. Then I finally finished The Hate You Give by Angie Thomas, and by the sides of all my freaking, what are they, like, Post-its? I don't even remember. All my tabs. With all my tabs, I loved this book. This book was just so phenomenal. I would do a review of it, but I may just wait until the movie comes out and do a review, but I just loved this book. I really recommend it to everyone. It is YA because she is a teenager, but there's just so many really good points that that Angie makes in this series. If you don't know, this follows a girl who witnesses a police brutality killing on her best friend, and it's about her kind of finding herself being with her community and all this stuff. I just absolutely love this book. So freaking good. Can't wait for the movie, and I'm so happy my college had this as my summer reading assignment, so yeah. The next book I read was Misadventures of a Rock Star by Helen Hart. This was a disappointment. I gave this a 2.5. I wasn't happy with it. I just didn't like a lot of it that happened, and I don't know, it just wasn't good. Like, it just really wasn't good. This follows a girl named Heather who ends up she's an aspiring screenwriter, and she ends up going to a concert with her best friend where she sees Jet, who's the lead singer of this rock band. And I mean, the concept was good, but it just wasn't good. Like, I think he had a fake date her, he had a fake date her, and in love and all this stuff, blah blah blah. But I wasn't a huge fan of Jet's character. I felt like he wasn't that good of a person. I didn't really like the plot. It was kind of just all over the place, and didn't really enjoy this book. Then I read Obsession by Jennifer Armentrout, so another book this month. I loved this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5, just so good. This is the adult spin-off of the Lux series, and this follows Hunter, who is an Aram. And I just really enjoyed this. Obviously, Damon Black makes an appearance because he meets Hunter in the Lux series. So I just loved everything about this. It was nice to go back into the world, and it was just cool to see a different spin-off and see the Aram side of things and see like the evil Luxon and everything that's happening. I really, really enjoyed this. I don't think you have to read the Lux series to read this book. It may be helpful, but it definitely gives a different perspective to the book. I just loved it. Hunter and Serena are just amazing people, and I'm so happy I read this book. And if you guys can't tell, it's a UK paperback, so it's kind of shorter than a normal paperback. I just loved it though. Definitely recommend it if you want something like this. Then I read Misadventures of the First Daughter by Meredith Wilde and Mia Michelle. I gave this a 2 out of 5. Again, the Misadventures series isn't really doing it for me, so except for that one book that I read, Misadventures of something with college. Misadventures of a College Girl, that's why. This one I gave it 2 out of 5. I didn't like it. It was about Zane, who's a bodyguard of the president's daughter, and he was hired to protect her. And, I mean, it was okay. I forgot her name, Charlotte. It was okay. I didn't like Charlotte's character. I liked Zane, but I felt like there were some plot points that could have totally been expanded on, and they kind of just threw it out there and then moved on, and I wasn't a huge fan with that. But, I mean, I'm glad I read it. I'm glad I read the 19 books, but wasn't a huge fan of this one. Then I read Matchmakers Playbook by Rachel Van Dyken. I decided to include this in here, even though this is on my Booktubeathon TBR. I did already finish it, so this was like the first book I read during that week. So I may talk about it again in my wrap-up, my Booktubeathon wrap-up, but I read this one, and I really loved it. I gave it a 4 out of 5. It's a rom-com, and I've never really read rom-coms before. I mean, I watch Lifetime. I watch a whole bunch of rom-com movies, but this one was just really good. It's about a guy named Ian Hunter, and he was in the NFL, and he ended up like tearing something in his knee or something. Oh, there's a whole story with what happens, but I'm not going to tell you about that. And he can't play anymore, so him and his best friend decided to open up this matchmaking business where he basically helps the girl get the guy that she's after. And I just loved him. He was so hilarious, and I ended up watching the movie also, which was on Passionflix, which was on Passionflix. That's where it was on. Because that was one of the challenges, is to read a book-to-movie adaptation. So I watched it. I loved the movie. It was just so funny because he was just like a funny guy. Like, he was so sarcastic, and just everything about him made me laugh. But I ended up reading this, and I really loved it. Great rom-com. Definitely recommend it if you want something spunky but really good at the same time. Yeah, so I absolutely love this book. Then I ended up reading Mine and Remy by Katie Evans. This is book 2 and this is book 3 of the real series, I think. These are MMA romances. I gave Mine a 3.5 and Remy a 2. They weren't as good as the first book. I really enjoyed the first book, but I felt like these were lacking a little bit. They kind of were rushed. They were good nonetheless. Remy is kind of a retelling of Real in Remy's perspective, and I really hate those books unless they add something different to the story, and this one didn't. But I enjoyed them. They were good, weren't great, but I'm happy I read them. Then, my new absolute favorite book, I read Culty by Mariana Zapata. I gave this book a 5 out of 5, and I'm just dying over it. I loved it so much. It took me a good 5 days to read it, but I was also on vacation. I read this down in Florida, so it took me a while to read it and to really enjoy it, but I just loved this book so freaking much. I love it. Just everything about it. Culty, love Culty. He's my new bae. And Sal, it was just funny, lighthearted, brokenhearted, everything all into this book was just amazing, and I just love this book so much, and I really recommend it for you guys if you want a soccer romance, slow burn romance, something, because this book was just so good. Then I read The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. This book I loved as well. I gave this a 5 out of 5. This was a beach read. I read this down in Florida again while I was at the beach, and just this book was so good. Another rom-com. Everything that I wanted to happen happened in this book. I just loved it. I didn't realize I would love it as much as everyone else did, but I really did. This fellow is Stella. She has Asperger's, also known as autism, high-functioning autism, and she realized she's never been on a date, and her mom's kind of pushing her to go on dates and to have babies because, she's already 30, so she wants it to happen, and she ends up hiring an escort named Michael. And he's described as looking as a K-pop star, and he was just I loved him. This book was just so good, and I loved everything about it. But he was very funny, and they kind of made an agreement that he would help her start dating and everything. But this book was just so good. Everything about it just made me laugh and made me smile, and I really recommend this if you want something lighthearted but really takes into consideration, I guess, real life, because this really did as well. And then the last book I read this month was Deep Redemption by Tilly Cole. I'm doing my reread of The Hades Hangman, so this is book 4. And again, this was good. I can't get over Ryder as a character. I hated him. After what happened in book 1, I just hated him. But I did like this book. I liked the plot. I love the romance. I just hate Ryder as a character, so I had to give this a 4 out of 5. But that's good, because an author can write something that I hate. So, but I love this book, really good, and this is kind of the final book that involves the cult, if that makes sense. If you read the series, but definitely recommend the series, and yeah. So that's it for my wrap up. I did read a total of 19 books, so not as good as June. Hopefully I'll be better in August, but I got a lot of stuff going. I think I move into college in 26 days, so oh my gosh, guys. We'll see. I'm definitely going to pre-film a lot then, but that's in a month, so we'll work it out. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this and got some good recommendations. Let me know down below your favorite book that you read this month, and I'll see you guys later. Bye!